Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the UA podcast. I'm your host, John Jennings. I have my co-host, Mr. Chris Smith, and we have two very special guests with us. We have Tim Keefe and Keenan Meadows. How we doing, guys? Everyone back from Nationals?
Yeah. We're going to Vegas, baby. How can we not be doing good?
I was gonna say we got over a quarter of the top 8 here with us from Nationals.
Yeah.
Not too much con cred, not too sick. Got off.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though with the amount of people we had, I lost my voice because I popped off to the moon.
Well, they announced top 32,
8.
and you got to yell 32 times when that happens. And so, and there was top 16 the day before that. So by day 3, and this is not me recovered. This is me still like struggling to speak. But we had to come on and express our opinions and stuff. So
nice. Yeah, obviously, big congratulations out to Barrett, who took it down with Chaos Tokiyami, who victorious over Tim. Playing Air
and he beat my ass in top 8. So
there you go. He's just taking names left and right.
We are down with 2-time national champion Barrett Bryant. I am all about this.
He's definitely washed up. Because JJ called him washed up before the tournament. He loses round 1 and then proceeds not to lose another game the rest of the day. The rest of the weekend.
He lost to Jesse, and Jesse's like, man, I must have put him on like rage mode or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
For sure.
But if you somehow didn't catch it, Barrett did win playing Chaos Tokiyami, taking advantage of Twisting Azure Inferno along the way and a lot of the new Chaos cards.
Only 2x Twisting Azure. I was a little surprised. I've thought about not running, in my own fire build, I'm like 3-3 with that. And so like I was kind of happy to see that like I wasn't crazy by not running a full 4.
He was running the full 4 Summon Dark Shadow, and
obviously.
We saw that.
The last turn of the game when he gets to go Inferno triple Dark Shadow, basically playing a standard Punch and Judy deck, but with the MHA cards, and made that thing. What was it, like 13, 14, like 17
damage?
One speed to 1 point is 1 Dark Shadow too many. I get to block that if he only plays 2.
Oof.
Gotcha.
I also get to block that if I don't throw my Specials of Sound to flip his ETP. But
cool.
Yeah. I definitely spent that. I spent a lot of time thinking about that turn, and I was kind of thinking that he was trying to figure out how best to navigate like my cheerleader and how to like make sure he had enough. And that's probably part of what he was doing, but he was actually like, I'm gonna have 3 Summon Dark Shadows and all these attacks, and how do I sequence them?
Yeah.
Like I thought his hand was mostly gray. It turns out it was 0 gray.
It was 3 orange, 4 blue.
The Frigid is the perfect one to be like, no, we're gonna turn that off.
Like I have to.
Yeah, you don't want that turn to get any worse, but it was already lethal. It was game.
I thought he had a lot less than he did, obviously.
I think when after that happened, I think Keenan got up and goes, I thought we banned Punch and Judy.
Yeah.
I thought we banned Punch and Judy.
Yes. Because that was when I played all day in Standard. There was the Tokiyami deck that was all actions, and the Bakugo deck that was all actions, like floating around, and I was like, this should never exist in MHA, and then we got to watch it win that tournament. Yeah. I was like,
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of a nice little segue there, as our specialty on the UA Pod, segues into Friday before the actual Nationals. There was a Standard event, and you guys all played in that as well. So what was the feel in Standard? Did you see a lot of the MHA cards like make an appearance, or?
Not really. I saw a few, but not a whole lot.
Twisting Azure Inferno was definitely like the one. Like,
okay.
If you saw an MHA card in a match, it's always Twisting Azure because of the synergy that it has with Punch and Judy. But for the most part, what we saw, like especially because we saw such a diverse top 16, was all of these old heads topping with the stuff that they played back in 2020, right before the
whatever
COVID
pet deck you were working on before MHA.
Yeah, we were always like, you know what? It's the Sunset Tournament. It's a poignant send-off. Let us, as people who have played this game for a really long time, pay homage to our favorite decks of that era by playing them again in a format that is like ostensibly the Wild West. Absolutely, nobody knows what is good, what is balanced, and I think that was the best way for it. Like if we'd been playing this format for 6 months leading up to that point, it would have been miserable. We would have seen 3 decks at the top that are all horrendously broken. Punch and Judy would have been everywhere. Nobody would have even wanted to play. But given the fact that we were given almost no notice to put our decks together inside of a format we'd never built for, we were given, like, it was still a wildly fun tournament.
Oh yeah,
which was strange. Like it shouldn't, by all means, it shouldn't have been strange. It was a broken, horrible format. But because everybody just decided, hey, we're just going to throw this together and see what happens, and I like this character, I like this deck, we ended up with 15 different characters in top 16. Mark Tyner actually got second with All Might 3 playing Punch and Judy and all of this old stuff inside of this all build that was just wild and crazy, all 6 checks, just like the most bonkers UFS stuff like from the way backs that you've ever seen before. It was really, really cool. So yeah, I really like the format. It was just, I would never play it again.
Yeah, very true.
Well, if you add some Punch and Judy bands, I play it again.
Yeah.
Aside from missing on those, I think a lot of this goes, shout out to Jasco for a pretty good ban list, right? A lot of the stuff that really made people miserable wasn't there. Like that people could have been. There was some Togeros around, right? That's a card that a lot of people hate, but for the most part, like the loop-de-loop stuff, right? And the pure of heart, you don't get to play discard, haha, screw your voice of reason stuff. Like they got rid of all the really, really bad offenders like that.
Yeah,
I was chit-chatting with someone from Jasco, and I was talking about the ban list, and Punch and Judy was on the list at first, and then they've voted it back.
They sort of, yeah.
I was gonna say,
they're like, let people
it was
play
on
with
the on the edge, and they're just like,
it was on the
it's
edge,
the last
and they-
standard deck. People love this card, just ship it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna ask,
But yeah,
maybe
aside
why
from-
that one made it through, but it is just kind of like, it's
so-
this one last thing. Who cares? Kind of a.
Yeah. So for MHA listeners, real quick, so Big Shot Punch and Big Shot Judy are 2 action cards. They are both 2 difficulty 6 checks. One of them says that they have minus version. One of them says the deck gets +3 speed. Pick up punch. So Judy says 3 speed, pick up punch, E remove. From your discard pile, you pick up a punch from your discard pile. Punch says this deck gets +3 damage. Remove it and pick up a Judy from your discard pile.
Okay.
So you have all these decks that mill themselves. And then they want to go big shot, big shot, big shot, big shot, just like giving an attack +9, +9, +12, +12, something
and then
like
Twisting
that.
Azure Inferno.
Twisting
and you
Azure
get
Inferno, that
extra
gets
damage
spiked
for
even
every
up higher.
single one that
There's
you played.
yep.
So yeah, it just
Gotcha.
it's a degenerate pile. I played it way back in the day, like in standard. That was my main deck. Playing it with like a 1-check like Coffee Samba and then Allurophobia, which doubles its damage. Turns out Twisting Azure Inferno actually does more damage than Allurophobia does, which is a wild idea.
Serious?
Yeah. So,
Gotcha. So you
yeah.
just play like one giant nuclear attack, and you're like, here,
Exactly.
catch.
Yeah. So there were like 5 to 10 people running a deck that was basically just trying to do some kind of like turn 1, turn 2, Twisting Azure Inferno, big shot, big shot, big shot, play a bunch of action cards, nuke you. That was, probably ruining some people's days. I managed to dodge them. If I ran into one, if I ran into them, I had Flame Aura. That was my plan.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I played it fair because a lot of the decks were playing only actions, and I was actually playing foundations in my build. But I did run into a couple people playing Twisting Azure Inferno. One of them actually forgot to block with not Azure Inferno, Flame Aura. One of them forgot to block with their Flame Aura, but they had it in their hand when I killed
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Oops.
Yeah. So, but aside from those decks, right? Aside from the big shot decks, my top cuts. Oh man, I can't remember my top 16 anymore.
You were playing 2 tops.
I played against Chris Bromley. I played against Chris Bromley's Dijonette. A really cool. We're only playing 7 diff attacks Dijonette.
Wait, what? So you were playing Guilty Throne and 7th Bill?
Guilty Throne and 7th and Prism of 7.
He also had that. Was it he had the one card?
And then he ran like Flame Aura, right?
Flame Aura.
And he was basically there to kill you with the 7 diffs.
Yeah, he also had the power, the Aswell card, whatever. They got a bunch.
Yeah,
of
he had like a
momentum.
1x.
The 1x that. He's like, you can't do anything. I lock you out of the game, or you burn me.
Right.
Yeah, that was
so
funny.
I played against Dijonette, I played against a Wen deck, and then I played against the Takeda deck that ultimately won, prominently featuring an MHA card, Blood Moon Rending, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty good card.
He can reversal with
Yes.
with a card that has combo on it, and then give that card.
Yes,
Blood
and then
Moon
remove 2 cards from your hand of his
Oof.
choice.
And then and then he gets to play it twice. So
Yes.
he like rips it. He goes, okay, your turn. Oops, you're done. My turn. Okay, I'm gonna win the game now. So,
That's discarding your opponent's hand on their turn that is some old school UFS like bullshit that I remember from like back even when I played. That's it's not
there was
fun.
a point. There was a
I played
point
those
in our
decks.
match where the people watching were like, "Man, I thought we were gonna see some exciting slamming gameplay." I'm just like playing one passing. He's just like playing one passing. I'm just like, this is what happens when you put reversals in the game. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for all you people clamoring for reversals to come back, no. What's the Yu Yu Hakusho one? The Rose Whip or something like that?
A lot of guardrails, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's safe stuff in the game.
But yeah, I was playing a Fire Astaroth 1 deck.
Oh, I forgot your pet Astaroth deck.
Yeah, I love
about that a lot. And I know you had windmill punches and stuff like that.
Yep. So this is going back to, you don't get to do this too much in MHA right now, but this is one of my like favorite deck models is to just have a lot of threat diversity, I call it, where you just have tons of different ways to kill someone or really mess with their game. Like I had multiples, I could stun people out, I could throw people to death, I had reversals, I could reversal multiple, I could reversal stun you out, like, and Astaroth just has a lot of synergy with that whole mix of package.
Because damage is never bad, and he also gets to pick up an attack.
Up Flame Aura.
Yeah.
Pick up Flame Aura,
Sounds like a whole lot of not fun to play against. Just, oops, did you attack me on your turn? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there's a sprinkling of each of these things, right? But yes, Stairwell's messed up.
Okay.
Yeah, Stairwell's awesome. That card's really cool.
So what ended up taking down the standard tournament overall?
Will Anderson to play Takeda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Doing the Blood Moon Rendings on reversal style.
Yep. And what's really cool is he made top 4 of 2020 Worlds with Takeda.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool.
Comes back in the Sunset event and wins it.
Yep.
Wins it. Yeah, it's pretty
really
sick.
cool.
Yeah.
A little more spice.
Nice.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's exciting.
It was 2 years. Was it 2-3 years maybe? Like it's like
2.5 years later.
He took that long walk. Thanks, COVID. It's like, oh boy.
Did you guys run into any like newer MHA players who just kind of like the standard events today? I kind of wanted to check it out. Like, what was kind of their impression of like of true standard?
I got to play against people testing Recovery Girl with off symbol cards.
I was
playing single barrel in my deck. It was cool for me.
That's what it's there for.
Yep. Yeah, but they were just like, I'm just testing it out to see, get prepped because there's like newer there were newer decks, and so they were just like, I just want to get some testing in, and I'm like, oh, you sweet summer child, I'm so sorry. I locked something a foundation into a guy's card pool, and I go, well, you don't get to block anymore, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you don't have
symbols don't match. Turns out
you don't have the order symbol as Recovery Girl. And I was just like, attack, moonset for 30, and I was just like, sick.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's super sick.
But I got to play Kotal Khan, my boy, and Tim's boy, Blood for the Sun God, and I had a blast playing it. I didn't have a good record. I went like 3-3, gave my last round to David Pena because I was beating Tim in the Gunslinger as Robert, which was awesome, by the way. And but I gave David the win, and he goes, Chris, I'm like, I'm beating Tim right now. That game doesn't matter. It's the game that matters. So I got to prove that we can have Robert in MHA. That was the whole reason. But yeah, it was fun. Thanks to Tim for building my deck. I loved it. It was so much fun. It brought back a lot of feels, like good feeling. Like it was like, oh man, I'm home again type feeling.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And because that character is my favorite character second favorite. Robert's my second favorite. Surprisingly, they both have order. But
I handed you a life deck.
You handed me a life deck.
Because
but redemption redemption into reverberate into death is so cool. Like I triple reverberated somebody. I went reverberate, multiple, and it was just like, are you dead?
Because you should be.
Oh, you should be. It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't even care in games where the games got out of my control and I was getting my ass kicked. I didn't even care. I was having so much fun.
That's 35 damage before Kotal's damage pump.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was cool. I had to explain someone. I actually had to remind myself that Kodal can use his damage pump on multiples because they're printed 0.
Right.
And then I had to I had to tell my opponent who had never seen a multiple before that their mid zone 0/0s is printed. So like I had to like relearn a lot of things, and I was just like, ooh, this is coming back. This feels kind of nice, but I don't want to do this for 6 months.
I definitely heard. I watched somebody play. I heard somebody playing Xianghua say, "I'm going to play Windmill Punch." Okay, what's multiple?
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! This is not going to end well for you if you have to ask
That
what
is
that
awesome,
is.
dude.
This is not
Your
good.
friend handed you this deck and didn't tell you anything about it. And Xianghua is not a character with uncomplicated interactions. Like she plays, her cards aren't even reversals. Like you can explain what a reversal is, but Xianghua operates outside of that response window, and so
For the credit home, Xianghua was a Kevin Broberg pet deck.
Yeah.
If that gives you an idea of the complexity.
Yeah. It was crazy.
It's as ridiculous and as out there as like his Momo is now. It's like there's so many interactions, there's so many different ways that you can get in there and mess people up. But if you've never had any time on the character, she's really hard to play. Like I would consider Kodal more of a friendly, like, okay, I understand what throw is. As long as
this guy's like Ochako but crazy.
Yeah, this is like Ochako, but he makes it a throw, and then he also gives a pile of damage. Like,
he's cutting himself to put damage on stuff. Like you've got to figure out what desperation means, but that's very quickly explained, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Xianghua is just like just an abacus.
Yeah.
And so to give that to a person who doesn't even know what multiple is, they're gonna have a bad time. So.
Yeah.
I heard some poor sap called a judge to ask, how do I block with this shadow of a cowboy?
Oh no. I saw a meme about that, but I didn't think it was real.
That
I
really
didn't know that it was real.
Oh no! Shadow of a Cowboy doesn't have a block on it.
Right.
Oh no!
Oh, okay. I was like, what do you mean? What's like? Is there some stipulation about it? But there's just no block on it. Okay.
No block on it. Because when Tim sent me the UVS Ultra page, I'm like, why don't the blocks line up? Oh, there's some cards with no blocks on it. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, it's so weird. It's just so weird, you know? Like seeing non-blocks in a deck. It's just, I don't know. But yeah. I really dug that life deck. That deck, I got to dude. So Miles Tyler, I played Miles Tyler, right? In one of the rounds. I ended up stealing game 1 from him because I had no other cards in hand other than 2 revokes. And I was just like, revoke this, revoke that, and I lived, and then I killed him. But then he had the most outrageous turn 2s in games 2 and 3 that I've ever seen a Ken player have. So yeah, it was cool. It was awesome. It was really. I didn't even care. I was like, I should have revoked that instead of that. And he's like, I'm like, I could have.
That happens.
Maybe. He's like, nah, I had 5 more attacks in hand. I'm like, I was dead no matter what.
Yeah. Every time I've ever played Miles's Ken deck, it's always lose on 2 to 5 attacks. So the fact that you're able to even squeak one of those out with 2 revokes is awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, it was just hilarious. It was like, ugh.
Awesome.
Every time he would mill for draw, he would whiff. I'd go, yes. And then I forgot. So I needed a block on a 6 one time, and I forgot Alchemist was in the deck. I was like, I don't think I have any 6 checks. And I check and I block. I popped off. I was like, yeah, let's go. I have 6s. I have 6s, which is weird because that card is misprinted. I brought that up. The response on the bottom is actually an enhance on the promo.
Oh,
which is really weird. It doesn't make any sense if you try to play it as an enhance.
Yeah, it's not an enhance.
Yeah. But anywho, it was a great format for that event. I have a feeling that we may see something in the future just because I know they're chit-chatting on the Discord this morning. Dated the podcast right now. They were talking about that. They were talking internally about how well it went and how people received it. So we may see something in the future pertaining to like a standard type format. What that looks like, we don't know.
They definitely want to have a multi-IP format.
Yeah.
They've to establish that.
Said it without saying it. Yes.
And talking about how well it went, there were 100 people there.
108.
I was gonna say, like, there were over 300 for the Nationals event itself, but then over 100 just for the standard event. Well, also, to you guys' point about the multiple IP things, I'm sure a lot of us got that email with the survey, and there was that question about what are your other favorite animes?
I couldn't see the survey because it was white on white text.
I can't either. I also cannot see the survey.
They very quickly made an announcement about that, like, hey, we did this in whatever.
Yeah.
Dark,
I was like, hey, Tim, there's more
my
stuff you can dig up
phone
for the website.
Yeah.
So,
So when our email agency does an email for us because we have a marketing agency that sends emails for us. Sure. They send us. It's called like emails on acid or something, and it's just a whole. It's like, this is what's going to look like on iOS. This is what's going to look like in Android. This is what it looks like on dark mode. This is what it looks like on light mode. This is what it looks like in Outlook. This is what it looks like in Gmail. Because emails that messed up, where all the email clients have different ways of interpreting the HTML, unlike web browsers. So you need to do that with email, or else some people are going to get a messed up one.
Yep. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that the standard event was successful, and it seems like everyone had a lot of fun. Even the people that were just the MHA babies walking in, right, and playing, they still had fun.
Sweet summer children got sacrificed.
But I mean, hey, you gotta start somewhere, and if they're gonna have like more events and this kind of stuff, then it does lead to being like, oh well, I played at the one at Nationals. That was pretty fun. So maybe at
the promos were kind of cool. I like seeing the old Red Horizons in the new template. That was cool, which oddly had a Red Horizon Set 4 logo, I was told. So
yeah, because they put that on the recent Keenan decks.
The recent Keenan promos, on the decks there. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have a
Red Horizon set.
Red Horizon 4-ish.
A Red Horizon on the horizon.
Which kind of, I know that Templar and Revoke were the top 8, the top cuts prizes, which made me really sad because I wanted to have them, but whatever. I beat Tim Friedlieb instead, so it's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
It was worth it.
But
with exact damage on a Blitzney, so that was
it.
But Yay, powerful 4.
On to the actual main event. So as far as like accommodations and that kind of stuff, did you guys like have any issues with where you were staying, or like food or whatnot?
I don't know. I think they need more sidewalks in Dallas, but that's the Dallas problem, I think, because of the highway.
Take it up with the city planner.
Yeah, and I think that more options for like the venue itself was cool. The hotel was nice. The hotel was super swag. It was super fancy.
Yep.
It was really nice. The restaurant downstairs for a food option was a good thing if you wanted to wait for your food.
Yep.
I didn't stay at that hotel. I stayed at one across the street underneath the hobo bridge, as we called it, because there were some homeless people sleeping on one side, and it was fine. It was a 5-minute walk from our hotel. So, and a lot of the MHA players stayed at that hotel. So we had ample hangout time, testing, whatever. Like everyone stayed at that one across the street because it was like $100 cheaper a night. But food trucks for the next one. If we have it there, food trucks, please.
Yeah.
It's impossible to feed 300 people in a half an hour at one restaurant.
Tim, me, Ashley, and about 6 other UVS players were down at the bar on the lunch break. We all ordered food. We actually went past the host stand because there was nobody at the host stand because they didn't want to seat anybody because they were already packed full of people because they weren't ready to host a 300 person. We're all needing food within the next 45 minutes. And so we all go to the bar, we order. This frantic bartender is just like doing her best.
Not even a bartender usually.
Right.
Not even a bartender.
She's like, I don't even know the staff back in the kitchen right now. I'm just sort of helping a friend out. And so we're like, that's fine. She gets our phone numbers. We go to play our next round because it's been 45 minutes and our food still isn't out yet. And then she literally brings it to us upstairs.
Oh, that's really
it was great. She was like, the staff there, like Chris said, like everything there was top notch. The food was actually incredible.
Yeah,
it was a little on the pricey side for sure, but it was definitely amazing. And actually the cocktails there were really expensive and really, really good. But yeah, they did not have the infrastructure to handle the number of people, at least from a food perspective. Now, I was impressed that they kept bringing us more water because they didn't really do it on day 1, as far as I remember, but in standard. But as soon as we had 300 people in there, they were like, hey, we got to keep these people hydrated, which was great because I kept going over there and filling up my water bottle after every single round.
Okay, cool. So they just had like a station kind of thing where it's like, hey,
they had a couple stations off to the corners with like a bunch of glasses, like glasses, and none of them got broken from what I know. I don't think any of them got dropped. That's
impressive.
Which is really surprising.
It was astonishing that they kept the water.
Good.
The water historically has never lasted very long. It's always like out by the end of round 2, and maybe it shows back up in round 5.
Right.
But they kept the water going. The seats had cushions.
They were so awesome. Nice.
Oh man, they spoiled you guys.
The tables. Okay, so the tables were actually wide enough for 2 play mats to fit, unlike in some events we had. Yeah, it was nuts.
And I had space on the left to put my notepad, which is actually pretty large, and then I had space on the right to put my deck box. And I wasn't like constantly bumping into my opponent's stuff.
Right.
It was awesome.
It was great. Yeah, it was really good. We can have it there again.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
But have food trucks.
Just get the word out in Dallas, like, hey, food trucks, show up here, people will buy stuff.
I talked to Paul during one time on the weekend because he was just asking me my general, because you know how the guys are.
Yeah,
they was
feedback.
Like,
how can we make it better?
Weekend, yada, yada, yada. I go, my only one complaint, Paul, and he goes, food trucks, and I go, food trucks. That's my only complaint. Other than that, top notch. Loved it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I stayed at the venue, and honestly, our room was fantastic. Being able to just like go get breakfast at the hotel. I mean, the buffet was expensive, but like the actual regular breakfast items, we had like a banana Foster's pancakes.
I'm so jealous. I love banana Foster.
They had a jalapeno cheddar sausage, eggs Benedict that was amazing. Like it was just like, and I was paying half the price. I bought like all 4 of our breakfasts one day, and then I bought 3 people's buffets the other day, and I paid more for the 3 people's buffets, and then it was like it's just get the regular food. It's fantastic. That hotel was very swanky. I loved the aesthetic of it. It really did feel like a high profile card event. Or like, you know, like
and that was awesome.
Yeah, I watch a lot of chess tournaments, and so I see them going to like these very nice places to play chess, and it felt the same, where it's like, hey, we're going to treat our players the way that they are going to deserve to be treated, because any of these people could be one of the 8 that gets to go play at this prestigious tournament. So we're going to lead up to that in the classiest way possible, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, I had the brisket burger because me and Colby, during the tournament, like round 3, I get paired into Corey Aguilar's Eraserhead 1 deck, and we play a 1-0 1 hour and 7 minute match with me taking it down. But I'm like, all right, Corey, I need to go to the bathroom really bad, and I have to go get food. And I go to the bathroom and I meet Colby out, and I go, Colby Cram, and I go, let's go get food. And he's like, we run downstairs, and they're like, it's probably gonna take a half an hour to 40 minutes to get your food. We're like, challenge accepted. So we order our burgers. That thing we got it after round 4 because he went downstairs and got it. We ate it cold. It was delicious.
Oh wow, that's high praise.
And it was so good. After the event was over on Sunday, we got it again, but we got it warm. And I go, Colby, he's like, better warm. I'm like, this thing is amazing. Granted, Jacob Johnson bought me dinner for qualifying at Worlds, so it was 10 times better.
There you go.
Yeah, but it was delicious, and I wish I would have had it warm the day before, but whatever. It was worth it.
Yeah, mine were slapped to like the timing of the standard event and not starting it a little bit earlier. Like I didn't get to. Like I went out with the Rochester guys afterwards, but like they were about to just leave without me.
Oh wow!
Because like they were like, we're all hungry. You're still in this top 4 match. Right. Then Will started going into his quadruple flame roar turn. I'm just like, guys, I'm going to die. just hold up 2 minutes.
Just give me.
I'm not even going to maintain the kayfabe. I want to eat. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Here's my hand. Please kill me.
Kill me now. Yeah, kill me. Yeah. Food trucks would have been really nice. So maybe like we can have it there again. Definitely, because Dallas was actually the airport was great. Flying in was fine. I know some people had some issues flying out on Sunday because of weather. Or did you guys know that 2 airplanes crashed overhead while we were there?
Yes. So it was at an air show.
It was an air show.
It was. I mistakenly opened up Reddit, and of course, the way my Reddit's set up, it just autoplays, and so it just autoplayed the video. I was like, oh my god, what did I just watch?
Yeah,
and because I saw like 2 planes.
When I got back.
Yeah, because I had like a heart attack. I was like, oh my god, because it said like 2 planes crash in Dallas, and I was like, I have a bunch of friends that are flying out of Dallas. What the fuck? And and then I was like, not to downplay like the significance of what happened.
It's definitely a tragedy.
Yes,
and it's definitely a tragedy.
But it was like an air show. I don't want to say one of them was like a World War II like bomber or something like that. It's not as bad as it could have been, because apparently something they do sometimes at this air show is they also take people from the air show in the planes and have them fly with them. That did not happen. That was not going on.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know anything about aviation or anything like that. But you can just see like one plane's going this way and another one just comes right into the side of it, and both planes like fall apart and explode. Like, all right, well, yeah,
That's crazy.
But yes,
so yeah, I
glad to hear the airport was good.
Yeah, no more downer talk. I flew into Dallas Fort Worth. Super easy to get around. Really easy to get a lift out of there. It was super chill. Yeah, like I stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn. They had warm breakfast every day, yada yada yada. For it was breakfast buffet. You had to pay for it, yeah, but whatever. I ate the same thing every day: bacon, eggs, potatoes. Bacon, eggs, potatoes. I was like, I'm very superstitious when I travel. When I play, I'm a superstitious person. Didn't do the whole same underwear socks thing, so that's good.
Yes, I'm sure everyone involved was grateful for that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I definitely go back there in a heartbeat. It was only like a 2-hour flight for us from Chicago. Yeah. So watched Bullet Train on the airplane. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's one of the best movies I've seen in 10 years.
Okay.
So cool. Yeah, high praise. But yeah, anywho, about the tournament. Yeah. Let's go.
I stayed at. I knew everyone was staying at the hotel across the street, so I'm like, guys, everyone's staying at the hotel across the street, and then we all booked the wrong hotel across the wrong street.
Oh no!
Nobody else was at.
Oh no! Tim.
It's just a Holiday Inn. It was fine. We had some sweet sized rooms, so that was kind of nice. We had some spacious rooms, but
yeah, good.
There was a nice diner next door.
Okay.
That was really, really, really good next to the Holiday Inn. So we had some.
Oh man, I wish I would have stayed there because we had no food around us other than the hotel food. So
yeah, we could just walk over to a diner, and
that's awesome.
It was a little small, a little crowded, but they had really good service.
Oh sure.
So did you have to take an Uber to actually get to the event?
Yeah, you had to actually drive. There was no conceivable way to walk from that place.
Gotcha.
It was right across the street, but it was throughways and up and down.
Oh yeah, no.
Garage and,
and it was also ludicrously cold the entire time. Like coming
from
Atlanta, we were like, oh, it's gonna be nice. It's in Texas. Yeah, I don't know how the United States works, but it was like 30 degrees the entire time.
Yeah, I checked the weather on Monday because I was letting JJ and everyone I was staying with. I was like, it's supposed to be like 50s and 60s this week, and then it got progressively colder, closer and closer, and then it's just like 40 and raining. It's
Friday the high was 65, and it never even got within 20 degrees of 65. The highest I ever saw was 44.
Gross.
Yeah, it was cold. It sucked, but you can't blame Jasco for that.
Oh yeah, no, that's not their fault. That's
it's really not my problem. I was in the hotel.
I was gonna say,
exactly.
You're really only gonna be outside I don't know if you're walking 5-10 minutes maybe. So it's you can manage for that long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, it wasn't terrible. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
But onto the actual event. So Chris, you were on Kirishima 2 Earth. Tim, you were on Air, Jiro, and Keenan Water Asui. So what kind of what process did you get through to go to these decks? Obviously, Chris, I know you talked a lot about Kirishima 2, and I think you played him. You didn't play him at the Winna case, right? You played Midnight.
No, I played Air Jiro at a Winna case.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I started thinking, and I was like, I want to draw more than 6 cards in a turn and not rely on a 2-check.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love All Might 3, who gets to draw 1,000,000 cards for free, and I was just like, well, Seizing the Advantage is a card, Hardened Jab's a card, and I've seen my friends Ben Lambright, Jacob Johnson, other players, have been doing really well with the deck, and I'm just like, well, let me try it out. And JJ and Travis stayed at my house for the Winna case, and we were just chit chatting, and I'm just like, man, I want to top 8 Nats. No goal. There is no reason for me to play my favorite character, All Might 3, and maybe come short because Good's defense is very sus because it has 3 pieces and it's foundational, and it's just it loses to Seizing the Advantage. Yeah, All Might can do All Might 3 things and just beat the hell out of anybody sometimes, but man,
if you're looking for that consistency,
it's hard to argue with K2's consistency and his oh shit button. His oh shit button is one of the best oh shit buttons in the game. He gets to say your attack does half rounded down, and I get to just rebuild my staging area. So I just had to go with it, and it was we're here to win, to go get money. And I usually am one of those people who don't play the best deck in the room, and he's one of the best decks in the room. And I'm just I got a lot of I'm sure we'll get on it with the talk, but I got a lot of All Might 3 energy from him this weekend.
Okay.
One, because I lost a lot of die rolls, so I got to go second a lot. And going second as a 7-hander who gets to rebuild 2 cards, isn't terrible.
It's not the worst thing. No.
Not the worst thing. And Seizing the Advantage is broken.
Well, Tim, obviously you played Air Jiro, which Chris kicked to the side and said this isn't good enough for me, and you piloted it to second place of the whole event. I mean, right?
Tim's deck was completely different.
Yeah, so we have what we call dojo days at Giggle's house to prepare for events like this, and we just kind of try a bunch of decks and slam things at each other. And before our first dojo, really the only deck I played at like locals or put any time into was this Air Jiro list with Seizing the Advantage, because I saw Seizing the Advantage and I'm like, well, Jiro has some synergy with this card, and we built some lists, and I played at some locals and stuff and felt pretty good about it. And we went into these testing days and tried a bunch of we don't get very many iterations on any individual deck doing this. We just like get a look at a bunch of different stuff. And the first one, like, I tried some Ojiro stuff. It kind of like couldn't quite find anything quite appealed to me. Kind of like the Earth list, but and then we did the second one, and we sort of started iterating on this Kix Kirishima list that Giggles and Jesse played. And yeah, I built one of those for myself, and we really liked the amount of speed that it got on things. Like the reason I've never played the Punch Kirishima is because I don't trust trying to kill people with 4-speed mids.
Yeah.
Right, just fundamentally. Sure. And One with Nature and Sea seemed like help with that a little bit, but I was still just like, I don't know. I feel like I can get walled out. And if I think I can get walled out, I want no part of it. Right?
Yeah,
yeah, very
right.
true.
That's just me, right? So I built this Kixushim, didn't really get any time in it, was thinking about audibling to it before the event, because Jiro beats herself sometimes, with the two chicks and 6 hand size problems and whatever. I played some matches against our local Aaron Lindo at the airport. Played a few games with it, and I was just like thinking about how they went and thinking about how Jeff was playing. I'm just like, man, I don't like my player tendencies. My natural player tendencies do not align with the way this Kix deck really wants to be played. But the Kix deck, it's very aggressive. It's kind of just all in. I'm Kirishima. You can't turn to me. I'm gonna sell out. I want to block.
Yeah. You want to play defense.
Like, holding back, right? I kept like not going all the way in, like that sort of thing. And I'm just like, I think this is one of the best decks, and maybe a better deck overall than this Jiro, but I don't think I'm going to play it correctly. So I'm just going to play this Jiro list, and we'll see how it goes.
What gave you confidence in the Jiro list? Like, why is? I know Jiro's a great character, but obviously most of the meta did not respect that. What makes her good into these crazy matchups?
Yeah, so she has the damage output to kill Kirishima through the damage reduction, right? She can, and the flash is good harassment for him. It's also good against Momo.
Yeah.
So she can 50-50 pretty much with Kirishima. She's a little bit better against the punch list than she is against the kick list. The kick list is maybe 40-60, just because
it's a little faster by nature.
Too fast. Yeah. You kind of have to race the kick list, whereas the punch list you can kind of defend a little bit if you need to. And if you're a 6 hand size aggro deck trying to race Kirishima, he's just going to be more consistent than you, right? So he's got a little bit of a ledge there, but it's not crazy, right? You can still race him, you still get there. You still have blocks that draw cards and things like that, and speed reduction, and he doesn't have speed reduction, right? So like she's fine into Kirishima, and it's the kinds of decks I play. Like if I face an aggro deck and I have to race them, I'm able to race them. Right? If I face a control deck, I have the tools to get up and over in a long game, and that's all I want.
Tim,
so
you are hands down the greatest 6 hand size aggro player this game has ever seen.
That's very true.
If not evidenced by all of your incredible wins with these 6 hand. Every single deck you've ever played has been a deck that I have looked at and gone, I could never play that in a million years because it's totally counterintuitive to my own play style. But I just want to say that I have studied your decks a lot just to kind of like see where your counts are and try to understand it. And really, the only way that I ever learn how you work is by watching you play them. And even then, I'm just always blown away by like your just level of skill. So I just wanted to say that because you are absolutely incredible. And Jiro is such a Tim Keefe character. It's awesome.
For sure. Like, doesn't it like say like in our game, like I got my Kirishima deck too. My Kirishima deck started as a Jacob Johnson deck, and I go, this does not fit the way I play, and so like I took ideas from Tim, JJ, Travis, Ben, my local Paul, and I like, as Travis put it after my round 1, he just goes, "Did you just Frankenstein like 5 decks into one?" And I go, "Yeah." and it's working, which is really weird because it just shouldn't work. But I like pulled like the best parts. You know, I chucked out One with Nature and played Baker instead because I like hitting free buttons.
Yeah.
And I hate discard costs on stuff that just gives me incremental crap. And it's just like, I don't care. Maybe I get beat. I can't, stuff's not fast enough, but I'm not discarding cards that will lose me the turn if I don't hit the guy, you know? Because like One with Nature is a huge cost. You discard a card for +2 to the block mod. But against Pippa in round 5, she was discarding cards for One with Nature, and I was blocking 10 speed mids with +1 mid blocks, checking a 5, restanding with Kirishima, blocking +1 highs. You know, just sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you like. I've been arguing, like me and Ben have been going back and forth today about, is Baker better or is One with Nature better? And I go, it depends on the player, Ben.
It really is very, very situational.
It's situational. Like, sure, would I have loved to have a +2 to the block mod to kill Travis in top 4? Well, hell yeah. Hindsight's 2020, bro. But you know, like, I would totally do this thing backwards and sideways, and I would kick the table over, and I'd elbow drop him, or I would kill him the night before, so he doesn't show up like he does.
This took a very dark turn.
Yeah, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's just like, sure, I can just look at stuff like that, but it's just, I think, because like Keenan's list, his Water Oswey list, I can't play that crap. It's impossible. I'm no good with 7-handers. I know this. I need health because I take too much to the face. I played a 30 health character. Now I'm playing a character that has infinite health because I go sleepy. You do half rounded down. I can't play a 7-hander because I don't know how to defend properly with them. Keenan is a master. Tim is a legend. I'm just some dude who came off the street who's like senile, who has no idea what he's even doing here. So please, I need to know.
We all got these nice invitations, Chris.
I was going to say, I mean,
what's the difference?
Chris, you can sit here and wax on about all your self-deprecating humor, but we know that's not true, Chris. We know. To your point, and I think this is something just so true in just games in general, especially if you're trying to go for something that's competitive. Just playing what you know, like you're most comfortable with. Like Tim said, like you could have played the Kirishima 2 deck, but it's not really your style. It doesn't. It makes you uncomfortable with. Maybe it takes you out of your zone, and you make the wrong choices because you're like, well, what I want to do is this, but it's not what I should do with this deck, right? I should do this other thing, and now you're second guessing yourself. You're taking too much time. And so I really think there is something to that familiarity, and especially like you said with picking the Air Jiro over the Kirishima too.
Yeah, like before we get to Keenan, because I know I kind of stole the thunder from him. I'm sorry, Keenan. Like River was asking me about this weekend, and they were asking me about my deck, and I go, River, I'll send you my list, but it's tailored for me. Your play style is completely different. Like, you know, they're a good Jiro player. They were a good All Might player. They were aggressive. They are an aggressive player. They played a Kirishima Earth Kicks, a variant of that. They were aggressive. I'm like, you may need to change this because it's not an aggressive deck. It's one of those weird mid-rangey, if I get the hand, I can bop you on 2, or I can play the long game and I'll wait for you to... I'm one of those players that like, I'm going to play the game, I'm going to block, I'm going to make you overcommit, and then I'm going to backswing you into infinity. That's just... I don't know. I see Garrett play like that sometimes, and I'm just like, man, that's really sick. And I not to lie, I am kind of like that player where I'm just going to wait for you to make a mistake, and I'm going to capitalize. But again, that's probably why I'm so bad with 7-handers, because I can't face tank things for so long. But the person who did play a 7-hander, this corner of the screen and my screen, maybe not.
He's actually directly below. He's directly below you.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I'm not watching.
It's me and you, and then Tim is below me, and Keenan is below you.
Like,
we're giving the sauce away back here
players of our game.
On how I have things set up.
He picked Water Oswey, and I know people were really high on the Water Oswey Dry Eyes list, so I don't know if your list had the Dry Eyes in it, because I didn't get to watch any of your games. But please tell us on, because now I'm segueing like we do so well into Keenan. Please tell us why and how you came on this deck.
I know you're segueing, but I'm going to boomerang really quick because this deck was a product of a crisis. So
man.
I have had the worst schedule any human being could possibly have in the universe for the past 2 months. Since the set came out, I got my cards late. I think I played 5 matches of the game before we actually ended up in the hall to play cards. And when I was testing those matches, I wasn't testing this deck. I had like all might built, and I was messing with an Earth Sato list that me and Mark Tyner were messaging back and forth on Discord. And I had a really aggressive Water Asui that me and Mark Tyner were messaging about on Discord. And we were like, I was going back and forth, and I couldn't find anything that I liked. Me and Ashley spent one day where we built like 10 decks, and I think we maybe played 4 games with any of them. And then I went online and I took the decks that I was most confident about, and I play tested it against some of my friends, Alberto, Santiago Ramos, who's got this insane what is the tail guy again?
Ojiro.
He's got this insane Ojiro list that he won teams using, and then Tommy Bagwell, who's like the perennial best Ochako player ever, and got my ass handed to me. And this is the Wednesday before we leave on Thursday, and I'm going, I don't know what to play. I should just play this Ojiro list, or I should just play Kirishima. And I'm literally like standing in my kitchen with all these cards laid out on our table going, I don't know what to do. And then I like looked inwardly at myself and said, I have to play the deck I want to play. And it's not the aggro Water Asui list, because I really like this Control Kamui list that I've been playing for the longest. But the problem with Kamui is he's slow, and I hate playing slow. I want to make something happen. Like I don't enjoy these like 70-minute rounds. I really don't. But I like being able to control my opponent's pace of play. And so I made a list of the things that I knew was going to be there. I knew there was going to be stun. I knew there was going to be speed. And I knew all of the threats that were coming after me were going to be way too quick, happening on a turn that I wasn't going to be prepared for them. So I had to figure out what's the best way that I can leverage all of that. How can I optimize into just being able to never take damage from a back alley haymaker ever again? And I came up with the perfect list. I think I maybe got hit with one the whole weekend.
Oh, nice.
Because this list is designed to never take... If you don't want to ever take damage from a back alley haymaker list, this is the list for you. We run 3+ Ultra. We run 4 tape. I was only running 3 struggling with studies and 3 ice glide. 3 ice glidings was insane to me. That card's amazing. But I figured that I had enough extra speed reduction. I was running 2 copies of Sticky Balls and only 2 rescue completed, because Sticky Balls turn sideways and makes your back alley a 0 speed attack.
Yeah, a lot of people forget it does have this whole other ability, right?
Oh, yeah.
this -4 speed.
Relevant ability too.
Yeah, and then you block with an ice storm and their turn's over. It's amazing. And nobody is like trying to continue swinging in because you're Asui. And so unlike Kamui, you've got a scary ass potential to just, oops, I accidentally killed you because you got 1 short because you committed out a little hard. So you get to play with this threat level that Kamui doesn't have. So really, like the whole design of the deck, it all came together the day before. I think I played 1 match with it. I ended up winning that match against a Kirishima or an Ojiro that Ashley was playing. It was like a 2-1, and I was like, you know what? That's good enough. We're gonna play it. I played against 6 Kirishimas on the day.
Oh my god!
Against, between Swiss and between
top cuts,
it was 6 Kirishimas. My record against Kirishima for the weekend was 5-0-1. That character, after that weekend, I didn't give a shit about banning Kirishima. I was like, ban Tokoyami. I'm 0-2 against that son of a bitch, and he's killing me on 2. This is garbage. But regardless, like that was like I wanted to be able to defend. Like the deck doesn't play Frog Kick. And in hindsight, maybe it should. But like really, I'm like 4x on the Ice Storm. I took Cheerful Uppercut out because the problem with Cheerful Uppercut now is if they do want to continue to swing into you, you got a card in your card pool, and it's turn 2.
And she can't kick it out, right? Like she can't interact with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're like, and I didn't want to run a bunch of graceful maneuvers because I also wanted to make room for rescue completed and the 2 Sticky Balls and 3 prone to dry eyes. The deck plays 7 3-diffs. I'm playing a 64 card list. I'm used to playing 50 or 55. I'm not used to going that high. So like there was a whole lot of like personal compromises and like soul searching that had to happen.
Oh my gosh.
What I ended up playing. We finally got there, and then I built it, and it ended up performing amazing for a meta that ended up with 49 Kirishimas inside of a 300-person field, and I just happened to have, I think it was 12% of that meta game was my, like, I got to play against, which was amazing. So, you know.
And you planned for it perfectly, so.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, this is quasi-tangent, but one of the things that So you said 7 3-diffs in 64 cards.
Yeah.
That's normal in the old standard, right? People do that all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the things when I was looking, I dusted off this Astroth deck saying like, all right, what am I going to change in this? And I spread it out. I'm like, oh my God, this deck's like 23% spam or something.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that in MHA. And I'm like, oh yeah. When there's a larger card pool, having the foundations with better abilities matters enough to sacrifice your spam count.
Yeah.
And like set 1 format that hasn't been important. Set 2 format, little less important. People still doing it. Set 3 format, people doing it like maybe this Chaos Tokoyami, but like as we go forward, it's going to continue to be, it's going to be more and more correct to be a little more greedy on your foundation difficulties, just have more quality.
I cut so many, like water has so many good 0 diffs.
It's insane.
The Mineta 0 diff that's E-1 speed. I cut it. I completely cut it. I played 4 gotcha. I played 4x gotcha because every other deck is playing Brutish Swagger and Back Alley Haymaker.
Yeah.
Literally, that was the whole decision-making process. I was like, I'm not getting hit by these cards. And then I had to play basic training because my deck was low on Deadlock. And I needed a threat to make people go, maybe I'm not going to go into Deadlock this game because he's got +1 speed on everything, or +2 speed if I got 2 copies.
He's already Asui.
Yeah, he's already Asui.
And if you're playing
so
like first villain encounter or something like that, that's like you get like an amazing Deadlock threat. And you also got this other random one. You're like, hey, do you really want to do this? You're staring down the barrel of me coming back on you on my turn and just blowing you the fuck out, right? Like,
and even the Tried and True synergy with like Rescue Completed,
Yeah, exactly. But I don't like the card, the one that you just mentioned. But I played it
first villain encounter.
First villain encounter because I had to have a Deadlock threat, but I hate the enhance on it. I think the enhance is dumb. It's like +1/+1, and you've committed a foundation for -1 difficulty for a check that you might actually just pass anyways, and so
it's kind of frustrating. Like you get some weird things you can do, like kind of neat with like Crow and Frog, or if you're playing like Freezer Burn, you're like, well, I've only got 1 tap foundation, you have to ready my first villain, right, or something like that. It's some kind of cute stuff, but it's that Deadlock
better
threat.
with Frog Lashing.
It was way better.
Now that there's no Frog Lashing, like your odds of playing a 5 into a 5 are just lower.
Yeah, because I mean, you're playing like what? Crow and Frog. Were you playing any other 5 diffs?
Yeah, I was playing Crow and Frog. I played a 2x Heat Wave and a 4x Ice Wall.
Okay, that's right. You're playing Ice Wall. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that card, that's stun. Yeah.
The breaker on that card is massive.
Yeah. So Tim, with your Arizura deck, as Kane was kind of talking about, did you have to do any kind of like real like soul searching or like hard cuts where you like, I have to include this card because of X reason, I don't really like this card, or?
I don't know. Like, there's not a whole lot. I'm trying to think. Like the most of the weird stuff on my deck is kind of fringe cards. Like the core cards are like, Jiro's core cards are Home Run Comet and Specialized Sound Waves, right? And you're probably playing. I originally was trying to do a list without Electric Jolt, and I was like, I need Electric Jolt, right? And we tried to list with less Double Jump. I'm like, that card's still good.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I had some stuff around the edges. I was originally trying to play like a full 1.3 million volts. And thinking like seizing the advantage and dexterous, I could put some speed on them and land them, right? And it just like the pieces didn't come together often enough in my testing, so I sort of spread out into this like 1 volts, 1 pillar swing, 1/0 gravity lift, like make them worry about all of these things, right? Kind of deal.
Okay, yeah.
And I saw Clinton, who's Swiss champ with AOG, was running full 4 pillar swings.
I like that.
Pillar swing was pretty good for me. Maybe that'll go to up to a 2x after this. But so there's like stuff like that around the edges. I had a Toru in my sideboard. I never really tested against Tokoyami, so I didn't bring it in against him.
I was gonna ask about that.
Is there like sort of theoretically for Tokoyami, but also like you kind of get to beat Fourth Kind for free, right? There's a couple characters that just don't function against Toru, so if it's 1 slot in the sideboard, you might as well just do it. Originally, it was way more slots, and I cut it down to just like Toru, and the only 2 slots in my sideboard that were just pure Toru slots were the extra 2 1.3s. Which I could also theoretically bring in if someone was trying to crash my gates in and like I knew they were going to oversell, but it was mostly just there so that Toru could kill anything.
Gotcha. Just throw the speed on stuff and just tap them out and like, all right, here you go. Here's a 1.3 with, it's only 3 speed, but like extra 4 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, your specialized sound waves are 3 damage now, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that feels kind of bad. Like you have to have that card in the deck, right? Just because the abilities are so strong on it, but not being able to pump the damage on it is pretty rough.
Yeah, it's in the deck as a Jiro deck and you're sideboarding, right? But plenty of people played that card in like Aero Chaco back in the day, and just like, hey, this can give my 6 hand size a little card advantage. Is great against the Punch Kirishima. +1 mid block that draws a card. Those are all the things you want against that deck.
Yeah, and I guess if you're running basic training, you can still put damage on it, right? Like,
you
can do that kind of stuff. Did you guys like have any decks that you came across that you were like, I can't believe this deck like showed up at nationals and it was like actually kind of like a competitive kind of deck, or was it really just kind of like the usual offenders? Chris just lit up. He definitely has something.
Okay, so round 4, I play against one of Jeremy Ray's friends. I forget the gentleman's name. He was playing Midoriya 2 Focused Attack.
So life.
Sick.
Okay.
It was like, it was hilarious. He was just like, I had no idea what was going on. He plays Wind Up Punch, Back Alley Haymaker, and he's looking at his hand. He goes, Focused Attack. I go, ooh. Like granted, I didn't die because I took half of it, but it was.
But still, you just did Kirishima things, but yeah.
I did Kirishima things and didn't die because obviously, but that deck was sick. He was at that point 3-0. So I don't know how he finished out, but still though, very cool. Like that was just like, that's neat. Like something that's just off the wall. I didn't even expect it. Granted, the deck is all mids, not really that whatever. But it was really cool. It was really neat to see that. Considering Pippa played a really aggressive midnight list, that thing was fire. Like it just screamed at your face. Played evil versus good as mini summon Dark Shadow, did summon Dark Shadow things, and it was just like, she murders me on turn 2 both games if she has one more attack in hand or doesn't check a 3. Like I just die. And it was really cool. Like that deck was super rad, and I'm a huge Midnight fan, and it was really neat to see that character like showcased a bit. In that way, because a lot of people play her as like a mid-rangey stunner, like put stun on and then put speed, but man, she didn't care. She was just like clap them cheeks, boys. And yeah, it was. And like I talked to Matt, and I'm like, Matt, we're playing this character completely wrong. Like we just need to scream at people. We just need to throw stuff at people all day, and like if you die, you die. And it's just like I was like, holy shit, people. Like I was happy to have Pippa as one of my tiebreakers because she was just crushing faces all day, and I was just like, "This is awesome."
You just gotta play the deck like it's Ivan Drago in Rocky 4, right? Just if he dies, he dies.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, one card. I want to go backwards a bit.
Okay, let's do it.
I struggled with like 10 cards in my deck going into I was at like a 65 card build, and I'm like, this is too fat. I need to trim it down to 60. And one card that I saw Ben play at the Win-A-Case was Hardened Uppercut. I dogged that card so bad on set 3 release, then I'm like, Tokiyami's still a thing.
They have like +0 high block.
It's a +0 high block.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. And I was like, I'm maining 2 of these. I wish I had. I played a Tokiyami once that was in top 32, which I won. But I wish I had a 3rd copy in the slot because that thing is so sexy. It's just like +0 high.
All Might 3 plays that off of all, gives it speed. It's
I know.
Awesome.
It was insane. Like Pippa threw Home Run Comet for like 11 speed or whatever, and I'm just like, block.
Yep.
Need an 11.
I was like, she's like 9 speed with a 1 with nature. It's just like, block, commit out. You got another I die. If you don't, I kill you on the backswing. It was just, and it randomly dumpsters people with EX2 and a 9 damage. It's like, that card is awesome.
Yes.
I just totally blew my mind this past weekend. So yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was gonna say, like, on the topic of that card,
I stole that away. I always steal stuff away from people.
No, I totally like did not think anything about that card at all. I think it was Tim. I think you posted like an Ojiro Earthless, and I was like, Hardened Uppercut, huh? It's like, let me look at this. And I was like, oh my god, this card. And then I played it in my Kamui Earth deck, and I was like, oh, this card's fucking sweet.
Yeah, Aaron was talking about earlier, played in all Ojiro lists. He played a little bit back in the day, back in like he won like a local Empire Circuit event with a Lekman back in the day.
Oh, cool.
that level back in the day.
Oh,
but
shit. Cool.
he moved to Rochester. He's been back playing for like 3 weeks and just like doesn't even really have that much of a collection yet. But we cooked up this.
Oh, that's the
Ojiro
guy that I
list.
bought the season the advantages for. He needed seasons, and I just got him some off the promo list. I was like, here you go, have them.
Yeah. The
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah, Aaron's pretty cool. So he played this, although he actually, we can't not mention the slop of after round 2, they forgot to put Jacob Johnson in with his buys.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes, that is true.
no.
Yes, he had 3 buys because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of repairing, they gave him a 3rd buy.
Good job, Jacob.
Which is not especially fair.
No.
And then at the end, the system wasn't prepared to handle someone with 3 buys.
Oh, so it just like
his
spit him out?
Tiebreakers were 0%.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they announced the top 32, and Aaron was 32nd.
No.
And then they saw Jacob went up with his tiebreakers, and we're just like, yeah, they said you're in, and now you're probably out, right? Like,
did they do
so
anything
that
for
was
him?
messy. I don't know. I don't know if they did or didn't do anything. I know he was up there, talking to them for like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Sunday morning, but that was kind of awful. But he was playing an Ojiro list that was getting a lot of mileage out of Hearted Uppercut.
Oh, that's
So
Which
he would have been the one
I might play that.
like
I might play Ojiro at the webcam this weekend. I'm thinking about trying it out.
cool.
Awesome.
Going back to your earlier point, John, of decks that were like really, really cool that you were kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a new character because my run was pretty much like 50 Shades of Karishima.
Yeah.
But I did get to play against Andrew Lucio's Fire Karishima list in
Oh,
top
nice.
32. And I'd seen the Fury builds from set 2.
Mhm.
The set 3 Fury builds are terrifying in a way that I was not prepared for. That man should absolutely have killed me. And he just got really unlucky on 2 stun grenade activations that both whiffed.
Ooh.
But for me living at 1. And it was like you get stun grenade, you get prominence burn, you still play long lasting explosion because it goes into prominence burn and it makes it like a 9 speed attack. And then it makes the next one 9 speed.
Yeah.
And Karishima's giving it +2 damage, so you're just dealing with like 9 high for 9s and shit, and then you get to play seasoning advantage and all this stuff. It was awesome. Anybody who gets an opportunity, go check out that list because that's my favorite build of Karishima that I've seen so far. I didn't get to play against Jesse or Giggles with the kicks list, which I was also kind of terrified of, but of the ones that I played, the one that gave me the most run for my money was Andrew.
Okay.
That list is sick.
Yeah, Fire Fury has a lot of. I also had a run-in with a Fire Fury deck that I was going to bring up here. It was in round 7, I think it was. I played against William Anderson.
Oh yeah.
And we had a Slobber Knocker before he got his standard run back on me. And he was playing a Fire Fury All Might too.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And,
That's sick.
yeah, and
I got beat on by that win a case. Yep.
yeah. This was pretty similar to some of the previous ones. Only now you have stun grenade. And it was playing all the pool clear, right? All the damage pump, all the filter 2, discard 2, draw 2, and just really slamming into you aggressively. And I won that was like the one die roll I won all Swiss. I really needed to win that one because that was, it's really, when they go seizing Nitro, All Might activation, and they have encouragement on board.
Good Lord.
It's really hard to block that attack.
Yes, it is.
Because it's
clearing anyway. It's 7 speed.
I was gonna say it's a 7-speed base.
Next thing's gonna get bigger. You're probably not blocking the next thing. The next thing's gonna clear because you can't block it because you block the Nitro. So like, you take the Nitro, but then of course it's an explosive release, right? And,
yes, that's always
goes, right?
Yeah, that's always the caveat of those Fury decks. You're like, oh man, how definitely do they have at least 2 instant explosive releases in their hand right now? If I'm just gonna like eat this first attack, right? Like,
I fought Dan Buchanan playing a similar, like his All Might Fire that had prominence burn. And I was just like, I don't care what you're throwing after this. I'm blocking every first attack. I don't care. I'm not getting instant explosive release to death. Sorry.
Yes,
And then after game 1, he goes, I don't have that in the deck now. I had to take it out.
I mean, that's like the mind fuck you get to play with people, right? You're like,
I know. It's like eat the first attack now. Yeah, but
Fire Fury has so many options, right? Like,
it's fantastic.
Will wasn't playing Prominence Burn, right? Yeah. But you could be playing, probably not in that list. You're probably not playing Prominence Burn, but some deck like Kirishima could be doing it. He could pass that and then re-ready his foundations, right? There was, I don't think he was on Rapid Strikes, which is a card you could be on Fury, and there's Hellflame Stomp is another Fury that's on. And then you have Nitro, you have Instant Explosive Release, you have Stun Grenade. I'm probably forgetting.
You've got. I mean, it's not the best card, but if you wanted to run like Brutish Swagger, that's still like a 6 damage. Stun 2, draw cards. Like,
draw card is
crazy.
That's again on Kirishima, you have to have drawn like 2 cards. Oh wow, I did that with its If activation in mind. All right, cool. Let's go.
Yeah. There's a lot to explore with Fire Fury, and you have Kirishima. All Might 2, I could see like an
Dobby.
Nakago. There's an aggressive. You could build an aggressive Fire Fury Endeavor.
Yeah.
Right, and be like, okay, I have a speed option this way, and I don't have the card draw of All Might, but I have -4 speed on my character, which is extremely good right now. Right, and so that's a very interesting space that I think we'll see develop as this format goes on.
That is, I'm glad you brought that up. Like because everyone thinks of just Earth Kirishima 2, right? That's what everyone thinks of. That's the big bookie man. He was 16 out of 32 in the top. Well, obviously not 16 because we had at least 1 fire. But the Fire Kirishima 2 is, I think, a really unexplored space. Kind of like you said. I love seeing that. I'm gonna have to go check out that list. I haven't looked at all the Jesco's been putting out like the top, like a graphic of like all the top decks, right? And it has like all like the loadout of them. I assume they did all top 32.
They did
top 16, top 8.
The pictures for the top 8 and UVS Ultra Links for the top 32.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's cool. They did all 32.
Yeah. Next time, Jesco, just make copies of the lists, because people can change their lists afterwards.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's just a little thing.
Lists?
Yeah. Well, just like because these are their personal UVS Ultra.
Yeah, so they're just like tweaking them afterwards. Like, oh, I needed to like tweak these numbers or something, and they tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Someone took a picture of one of these top cuts list recent history as like, DLC card added to the deck.
Oops.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you guys have any like kind of like big picture, like overarching thoughts? Like, I know we've talked about it a little bit briefly, like beforehand. Like, do you think K2 needs to be touched? Like,
I think I don't want him to because I like playing that character, but I know something needs to be done. I don't know what it is, because I'm glad I don't have to decide that. I don't care what it is as long as someone else takes care of it. But for right now, I think he's got to be the front runner for people at the HLC. We don't even know what's happening, and I think he's got that Bird or Asui. It's one of those 3. I think that's what you have to plan on. And if your deck has to beat them 50-50 or better, you might as well not play it, right? So, but again, we don't have no idea what the HLC is going to entail. So please tell us, Jesco.
Right. Yeah, it's almost more of a deck building thing with him than a gameplay thing. Just like ready for filter 4 per round, plus the defense button is just more than the other 6 hand size on the symbol do, and there's plenty of good ones. Right?
Yeah.
All Might's good. Endeavor 2 is a good character. Both All Might 2 and All Might 3 are good characters. Sato's a good character.
Choco 1 is a good character.
I mean, she's not on one of those things.
No, she's not. She's not. But yeah,
like Ojiro is a good character, right? So, but you look at building any of these characters,
I see what you're saying,
and inevitably you come down to like, why am I not just Kirishima too?
Exactly.
And like, you do give up some stuff by doing that, but the overall package is just so much.
He's so efficient. Like,
the defense.
You play a 5. You say you play a back alley haymaker. You check a 3. It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
You got 2 ready foundations afterwards. Doesn't matter.
Even if like
with 0 dip, I committed. Bring it in. I do the other one with. I do the other thing with Kirishima. My board's ready again.
Even if it's even worse than that. Even if you're like I seizing and then I play back alley and I check a 3. It's like okay, who cares? Again, I've built one down because it's seizing, and then we're in the exact same situation, right? Like
like I killed Cameron. I played 5 attacks. I had 10 foundations. I played 5 attacks, killed him. Only had 2 committed foundations, and I still had 4 more attacks in hand. I'm like, I look at George and I go, I don't think this character should be able to do this. And then I just walked out of the room after me and Cameron were talking about stuff, and I just go, I'm sorry, dude. Something needs to be done about this guy. And I know you guys got to make that decision. You all have to talk about that internally, but that's my 2 cents. And I'm an old man rambling.
That's the nice part. They get to deal with the problem. We're the ones who have to play in the tournament that's a problem. But then at the end of the day, they have to make a really unpopular decision that 49 people out of a 300-person tournament are gonna hate.
And then we get to have the emergency pod and get free content out of it, right? Like,
right. You're right.
There you go.
We have Tim Ridley on to discuss his changes.
Exactly.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they could, they could make a change. There are ways to change this character that don't hurt him that much, right? Like,
for sure.
If he destroyed a Ready Foundation, most of these Kirishima lists still function. They just become like around as good as Sato, right? Or something. It was a perfectly viable character.
Or a face-up foundation is another one that I heard from.
Like there's a lot of easy light touch options because they're not going to ban him, right? They would.
Yeah, no, I mean he's in the DLC. You're not going to ban him, right?
And then like people are talking about, do you hit jab? Do you hit back alley haymaker? Do you hit, package?
If we want to talk about hard and jab, hard and jab, like it's probably too good. It's too good of a card. But if it was going to be touched, I think it would have been done at this point, right? Like.
Yeah.
I think you could make the argument to say, you know what, let's just take this card out of the format because there's really one character that plays it, and that character's a problem. And if we decide that we make,
are you talking about jab?
Yeah.
I mean,
and not all the decks play jab.
That card.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
The Kicks package still runs it because they need to make the frenzy matter.
Yeah. And All Might 3 runs it because it's one of the best punches in the game. So it's
it's 3 diff 3 mid 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and really that's the issue. It's a 4 diff attack that does 5 damage and like helps you keep like going, right? And it like I play it in my Kamui deck because it presents this problem of like, well, here's the 6 damage.
+1 high block, buddy. That's why it's in the deck. +1 high block.
It's that too. But it presents like, oh, do you want to block this like 3 speed attack and let me ready Kamui and like get another activation off him? Like it's kind of too efficient, right? Like it's doing too many good things for you.
Yeah.
I've also heard. I was talking to Robert Kimbrough in the Florida Play Group, and he was talking about back alley, and he proposed changing the enhance on the card to a Deku 2 only enhance. So it would basically get a lot more Deku 2 play out of the woodwork, but the card itself is still good. It's still a 4 mid for 5 stun 2 with EX2 with their
charge punch,
very relevant keywords and a very nice block on it. So like there's a bunch of like levers and dials you can always pull to balance something, but I think at the end of the day, really, like the problem is the character. To Tim's point, there are a million great characters on those symbols that Kirishima just fully overshadows.
And that's what happened with him when in his 5-hand size character. Like, why would you not play his character on any of those symbols? Because he's just more efficient,
But
I also think that Chaos Tokoyami is a nutter butter and should not exist.
I also think I honestly would change if I had the way. Summon Dark Shadow would only buff ally attacks.
And that's something I've heard. We've talked about it. A lot of people floated that. Like that's a good way to kind of like alter him up. One thing also that the Tokiyami deck has going for it is, I think Tim was talking about this earlier with like your spams and stuff like that. Tokiyami's like, I'm totally cool playing like 16-0 diffs because they all do something for me, right? Like. And that's something he has.
I got another thing. About Twisting Azure from behind the curtain. Twisting Azure's enhance used to be a first enhance because it used to be a Dobby card. It's not a Dobby card anymore, but it was supposed to be first enhance. Get this stuff because it was supposed to 3 damage on your next attack with Dobby. It was supposed to be a first enhance, but whatever.
Okay. That's interesting.
They opened some things up. They opened the door.
Make it useful for other people, right? You never want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why they did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a funny joke of orange card, blue card, which is a funny joke.
Yeah, I do like the general pattern of like errata characters and ban other things. I don't. I don't think we want to be. Like I can understand not wanting to ban characters, and I don't really like errating cards that are going to be in people's decks all the time. Right?
For sure.
It is, I mean, ultimately, this is like the difference between playing a game like this and playing a game like Hearthstone or Legends of Runeterra, where they can just like digitally change the cards, right? It gets so much easier. And
Hard and Jab would have lost the damage ages ago.
It'd be like a three mid for 3 or something like that.
Right. It'd still be played at a 3 mid for 3. It would still be played.
Yeah, it'd still be played, but it just wouldn't be as good. But like so, as obviously this is the first major event after set 3. We kind of saw this with set 2 where it's like everyone thought, after the first set 2 event, Tim, obviously you won Tokiyami, like, oh my god, Tokiyami's still too good. And then like 2 months later, like people are like, oh, whatever, we don't really care about like Life Asui, and then here comes the rail like the Railgun Asui deck. Like it's. Do you guys like think the meta is like in a pretty good spot? Like I know it's kind of hard to tell because like I said, there is just like the one major event to point to like for data. I mean, as far as like other local stuff. But
something that Tim has always said is like an unknown meta, aggro is usually the way to go because people aren't ready, haven't really set the defense patterns, and you haven't really dived that much into the meta. That's probably why you saw 49 Kirishimas, because he's a safe deck to play into aggro. Like you don't lose on, even though turn 2 I think is Kirishima's worst turn. You don't honestly, it's really hard to kill him on turn 2. But like I wasn't surprised to see Bird win at all because Bird is still a good deck. I know Tim pooped on it in set 2 meta because he can't beat Momo, which is fine. And he was right. He just couldn't. But Twisting Azure, crazy card. Barrett played out of his mind, even though he dumpstered games 1 in like top 32, top 16. And he just said, oh, I just dumpstered those 2 games. I'm surprised I won. But anywho, I think the meta is I don't want to say the meta is fine, to quote Jasko at some point, but it's unexplored is what I'm going to say. And
that's a good answer.
There's still a lot of depth. We have DLC coming out. Don't know how much of an impact that's going to be, but again, we've had set 3 for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month at most.
Yeah. And I did have a bit of it was maybe a bit of a mistake for me to like Tokiyami bad against Momo. My problem was Tokiyami was bad against Kevin Broberg.
Okay,
like a specific player,
who
specific player
has played against that Tokiyami so many times and precisely knows like, what, because I played it a lot, Field played it some, Jeffrey Kahn played it some, so like he knew exactly what we were trying to do and like to do, don't let us have momentum, like that sort of thing. When I played that against like other Momos in other tournaments, it was like fine. I beat 1 or 2, I drew 1 that like I could have won with better checks or whatever. So like that, but that's also the fire build that was leaning a lot on Javelin, right? I don't know how the chaos build actually fares in the Momo, to be honest. It seems tricky. But one of the things about Tokiyami is that, you have cards like Learning the Standards that are probably in most of these Kirishima sideboards and not main decks when they could have been in main decks before. But people are pushing them out to fit in, One with Nature and things like that. But those can always go back into main decks, right? You can always end up seeing more of those. You can always have people upping their, plus 0 high block counts, right? Things like that. So, it sort of, was there a subset of people that just said like, oh, I'm Kirishima, I'm fine against Tokiyami, and they really weren't as fine as they thought, but they could bulk up against it if they want to.
Yeah, I agree with the unexplored definition of the meta. Like there now that we've had one tournament, it's time to go back and reflect and sort of see what our best options are. And I wouldn't be surprised to see actually more Birds at this upcoming nationals. Or the online nationals, just because it did perform so well, and we've got the lists now, so people know what they can try to put together. It's not the easiest deck to be consistent with, and it's maybe not like you're always going to get lucky breaks in a tournament to get to where you are. But to Tim's point, now it's time to start teching against it, and we'll see what the tech looks like. I personally still think he's a little bit overbearing, just given how big the attacks get and how early it happens. But and also giving minuses to your checks for the whole turn is ridiculous. But yeah, there's definitely room to look. And Jasu, I don't think they can change anything this week. Obviously, there's everybody's got their decks ready for the next thing. But I would not be surprised to see this tournament end, and then they're going to take some kind of action on Kirishima, on Tokiyami, maybe on some other, maybe there's something that happens to like Water's defense package or Life, or something along those lines. But it's hard to say because we don't know what's coming yet. But
I don't think it would. So after this weekend's webcam, there's going to be the overseas ones, right?
The UK and Oceania.
So, it's either they like come out with like a minor nerf to Kirishima like tomorrow that people can still play it if they want, and it's not going to completely ruin their tournament or whatever. Or they wait until, all the way through the end of the month, right? Depending on when the HLC is, they might be able to just do that.
I think if they were going to do something, they would have done it on Monday, to be honest. for leading up to
they would have too many meetings about.
I was gonna say they're probably still in travel and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I know. But I was
check and you know.
I think we would actually have seen something was going to be done for this coming weekend. It would have been done yesterday, which was Monday.
Yeah, nothing's happening this week. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, nothing's happening this point.
So you still have your chance to run your degenerate K2 decks.
I think the Osprey announcement happened on a Wednesday, right?
It did.
Oh, did it?
But I don't think it was. I don't think there was a major event or what.
Yeah,
I honestly
don't
don't
think
remember.
they can go any faster.
That's true.
Right. Like, I think they had the Osprey conversations about as quick as they were going to have them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I don't think we'll see anything tomorrow morning, but if we're going to see anything, we could see something tomorrow.
Yeah, and remembering back from our conversation with Tim Freebly, like with the Osprey thing, he was very much like, we've been monitoring this for a while. We've been having internal discussions for a while, so they kind of had a game plan ready to go. And I'm sure the same thing is happening with Kirishima too. They're like, hey. And I'm sure they probably had some of those discussions there at Nationals. Like, we got 60, the entire half of the top 32 is all this one character. Probably need to
of the field topped.
Yeah,
28% of the Kirishimas topped.
That's pretty crazy.
One sixth of the field, 1/2 of the top cuts.
Yeah,
not even 1/6, like 14% or something.
And I'm assuming I haven't looked into it, but I'm assuming the webcam event this weekend is also going to be a top 32. Have they said?
No, it's a 16.
Is it top 16?
16 unless they get across 256 players, then it'll be a top 32.
I assume more people are going to sign. I don't know the exact number. I don't have it in front of me, but I assume it's going to ramp up probably.
Only like 100 and something.
I imagine.
Yeah, we've had 350 for a webcam regional, so I would have to assume we'd eventually get up there for the national, but yeah, a lot of people that Jesco should probably now. There's no pro hero package, so they don't have an incentive to push people to sign up early. So they're just never going to know the turnout until like the standard sunset event was at like 30 people on Wednesday night,
and then the day of surprise, there's 100 people.
Thursday, Friday, 70 more people sign up.
Yep. Well, this has been, I feel like, a pretty all-inclusive discussion of a Nationals recap. I do want to appreciate everyone. Obviously, Chris, you're a regular contributor member of the team here, but Tim and Keenan, I appreciate you guys coming on. Obviously, congratulations to all three of you guys. Very well earned. I know you're excited to.
Congratulations, guys! Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of the top eight.
We're self-congratulatory, like patting ourselves on the back, but man, it was really.
Happy that like Barrett got in, David Pena got in by virtue of trickle down. Ryan Field got in.
Yep.
Travis, I feel like Travis was probably safe anyway.
Travis was a lock already, but he's
Sean Fulbright.
Sean
Fulbright. Yeah.
He also playing Earth K2. I think
he was playing Kirishima too.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. But yeah. Any parting thoughts, Chris? Putting you on the spot first.
Sure. Why not? It was a great event. I had a lot of fun. It was great seeing everybody, meeting all the new people who watched the content. It was awesome. Sorry, it's so weird being in the content spotlight and actually having people come up to you and be like, "Hey, we love your show," and they start talking to you, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I love you. Thank you. And Tim and Keenan, you guys are legends, and I love you guys both.
Keenan, final thoughts.
It was an incredible event. Great time. Would have loved to have spent more time in Dallas to kind of explore the city, but for what it was, the event was run great. It was really great to see everybody again. It's honestly, we were talking about this beforehand, but I really wish there was a last chance qualifier still at Worlds, because it's going like, if you go there and we don't have like that same level of camaraderie, it's just not going to be the same, because that is really what it's all about, is getting the whole community together and celebrating together this wonderful card game that we all know and love. But yeah, so it was wonderful seeing everybody, getting to play all the games, and yeah, it's just, I mean, it was an incredible time. I love reading all the Facebook posts of people waxing poetic. Like, it's starting to become a meme now of how every single person has their gushy story from Gen Con, or not Gen Con, from Nationals, but it's really true. It was such a good time, and I want to see more of that, and that kind of positivity is what keeps our community together and what makes it stronger. So it's just good stuff.
Awesome. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, obviously, shout outs to all my opponents for all fun games. I started my tournament playing against 3 consecutive Kirishimas, and they all made top cuts. So that was kind of cool.
That's sick.
I lost to 2 of them, but I got to those guys were pretty cool. And yeah, shout outs to Will, and congratulations on winning standard. to Will Anderson. That's really cool to see. Everyone who qualified, and yeah, best of luck to everyone going into the webcam event. I do not, obviously we're all very fortunate to have qualified. I do not envy anybody that's sort of going to be their last final shots. It's really rough. Like, as cool as the cash prize is, the pressure of it, and the sort of you bring reality into your fun card game a little too much. So.
Yeah, I was a wreck leading up to that. I wasn't sleeping well. I was stressing out. Like, it was physically attacking my body. I was so stressed out about it.
I wasn't stressing out, and then I got down, and the first thing I see is Chris Smith moping in a corner, and he just looks at me and goes, Keenan, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, I got to get away from you. Leave me alone. I was having a good day. You're making it a bad day. And then, of course, I get paired against, like, in top 16 to get into top 8. I had to fight Ben Lambright, who I rode the bus with when I was 9 years old. We have literally come up together in life and in card games. And I had to knock him out of top 16, which was crushing. And I am really looking forward to Ben's performance at this at the upcoming online webcam event, because I want that man to get this more than anybody else in the universe. I do not care. It was just because we always meet in tournament and we always knock each other out, and it's always at a very bad time. It's either qualifying for tops or like in tops. We're always each other's final boss, and it's just it was heartbreaking. To play that match out, like, we hugged, we were crying afterwards. It was just like an emotional moment, and it wouldn't have happened if there wasn't as much money in the game as there is.
Exactly.
Like, this is we're talking about a life-changing amount of money. And it's one of those things where you have to play it out, and at the end of the day you guys are still friends. And we actually, like, we went out to dinner afterwards, and we were talking, and we had, like, one of the most poignant conversations I've ever had, like, learning about, because Ben recently got married, and kind of, like, talking to him about, like, all of his family stuff and everything. And it's just so wonderful to catch up like that. But it sucks when a card game could come in the way of all of that, right?
It's the catch-22, right? Because the card game is kind of what brings you together, and it brings all these people, like, it helps you form these bonds. But then it's also like it turns into this thing, it warps it on you, and it's like, oh, now it's like this thing that's kind of come between us. But I'm glad to hear, like, obviously that didn't happen, and I'm sure that wouldn't with a lot of these guys. Right. But no, that's awesome.
I was in the same side as River, and River's my local, and River has made me raise my game so much since River's joined the game, because a lot of my locals, they're great guys. They're very competitive at our locals. A lot of them don't travel just because of work, children, whatever. But, like, yes, I love my dudes, but they consider me the final boss of the locals or whatever. So whatever, big fish, little pond syndrome, whatever. But River has raised my game, made me raise my game since they have stepped into Boar's Hat games. Like, and if River would have won their game, it would have been me and River for top 8. And I didn't want to face them. Like, I don't think I could have made it. Like, I would, like me, and we've been friends for like almost a year. Like, I love them. Like, they're like my brother, and I don't want that. God, it's like we all want the prize, and it's hard to say. Like, I walked up to River and I go, River, I'm sorry you got knocked out, but I'm glad I don't have to face you. How do I beat my next opponent? And River just laid it on the table.
Well, that's awesome.
And that was great. And it's like, I'm glad that, like, I didn't want one of us to knock the other one out. I'd rather face them at the HLC where, where it's like, cool, we've made it and it's kosher.
Even though at that point, everyone's getting something at least, right?
Yeah, but, like, that wouldn't come between us, and because, one, we're well-functioned adults and stuff like that. So I just didn't want to have to. I didn't want that pressure on me, and that's the issue. I didn't want that. Like, man, I if I got to finals to face Tim, I don't know. Like, my brain would have exploded because he is the master. He brought me into the world. He could take me out. He's like, I'll kill your Final Fantasy 14 character. I will kill them, Chris. I don't want my character to die. Please, Tim. So
I definitely cannot do that.
No, but you'd find a way. We play PvP. There's PvP. You could take me out of this world, Tim. But no, like, it's really weird because, like, there's a huge prize on the line. we're all really good friends. We all want us to be there. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
there's only 32 slots. It's so, I guess, exclusive, but it's also so like the moments are pressure filled. Like our top cuts are already pressure filled.
Yeah.
With these cards that are selling for so much, like the prestige and all that. It's just like, man, I think it's brought like a light to our game, like eyes on it. It's just like now it's like magnified even more. And it's just it's cool and it's kind of poopy at the same time because we have to beat up on our friends and likewise like they beat up on us.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Top 16 of these tournaments is the highest stakes of any game of Universes ever played, ever.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah,
That's wild. The top 16, not even the not even the ones above it.
Right.
Me and Barrett sit down at the stream and we're like, hey, we both made it. Well, let's just have a fun game. Top 16 is the difference between a life-changing event and not getting to have that, and it's just one of like not getting that opportunity, and it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I was so lucky to face Jose in top 16. Right, just play against someone who's already there.
Oh
yeah. And because of the point standings, even if I lost, I was in because Kevin won, and just the way the bracket shook out. They probably. This is partly on the way the qualification is set up of like top 8 get in, but also partly the way this was set up. There was not a particularly huge motivation after the top 8, especially top 4 when everyone's getting one of those promo cards.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we're just playing for pride.
It's something to think about next year. And I mean, like, I thoroughly punted away the finals, and I don't even care. Right? It just, I'm not bothered by that nearly as much as I was bothered by missing the Ice Storm deadlock. Right. Because that cost me points towards qualifying, and this is like a silver versus a gold promo, and like having and kind of the vague irritation of people propping me up as a national champion or something versus like national champion Bear Pride. Cool, we're good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're happy.
I don't have to deal with what Kevin's had to deal with, where like he just gets. Kevin Brober calls himself the most overrated player in any card game because people just put so much on that like number 1 point standings.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, this took a little bit of an emotional turn at the end here, but I'm good with it. I'm good with it. We're
it was good.
We're here to, we're all adults. We can express our emotions how we want to. We're good, well-rounded people. I believe on that note, I can't really top any of that or add anything constructive or
like from the outside, John. From the outside, what did it look like from the outside? Because we were all there. What did it look like from the outside?
It was a stream.
I was coverage.
I will be honest. I was watching it kind of in passing. I have I have a 20-month-old, and he
fair enough.
He is very active all the time. I don't know if you know this about children. They have a lot of energy, and they don't understand I'm tired. And they don't understand, sorry, Daddy wants to watch this card game. And he's like, look, man, I don't speak words, so
he can't even make a control check yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just wants to eat the cards. I mean, the coverage looked good. I do like that they had like they had 3 people. They were kind of rotating in and out. That seemed good to kind of help keep people fresh, keep the energy going on the stream, keep the calls good. I mean, admittedly, I was very jealous of watching all the Facebook posts and all that kind of stuff. I got to go to the Orlando event, and that was a lot of fun. And that was like one like 20th, I feel like, of what something like this, even something like Gen Con, something like this would have been, being able to go to it. I'm considering playing on Saturday, just kind of like for fun, just kind of see like, just kind of see what goes on. I'll play. I'll have my webcam here. I'll have the Clemson game on this other screen so I can watch that while I'm playing. But it did seem like a lot of fun. It seemed like everything, like you guys said, like it really met expectations just as far as the event itself, as far as like how the staffing and everything went. I didn't hear about any kind of judge issues or anything like that. You didn't see any like long ranting Facebook post about, oh my God, X, Y, and Z happened. I can't believe this was going on at the Nationals. So it seemed like everything went off smoothly. And it makes me like, I'm definitely going to have to think about like next year. Like I've already decided like probably Origins or Gen Con, if not both. Like I've got to like set those aside. Probably nationals. Like I need to go ahead and start like every like $100 from each paycheck. We're gonna go ahead and just sit it over here for this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way already. I already have Origins, Gen Con, and Nats planned. I think those are the three are for sure. You know?
I have a problem. There was a 14 fan fest the weekend before Gen Con.
Ooh.
You were correct. I thought about that, and I'm like, oh man, I could use my in-laws' timeshare to go to Vegas and stay for a week for only $75 and go see Fan Fest and go see the cool trailer for whatever next expansion is. I think that maybe
it's going to be a problem for my PTO. I don't.
See, that's the good thing. Like, I actually have an abundance of PTO because I work for the government, so we don't actually work.
Yeah.
I get all kinds.
I get really emotional when I got home though. Like when I got home, I kind of I honestly everyone knows I'm a crier. So I sat down in the basement and opened my stuff, was putting my stuff away, and it's like the I don't know the word is brevity, but like the situation.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Off my chest, it's just like after it's like I can
it's
relax.
Just it's one less thing you don't have to. Yeah, I get that. And admittedly, that is another thing that like kind of stops me from going to like a lot of these things is like my wife and I like a small child, and like you only get so much time when they're like they're this young. It is very hard for me to like even to like play in webcam events like all day because like I get like 2 days off a week, and am I gonna sit at my computer while like my son's in like the next room? Like that's kind of hard. Like webcam events are weirdly harder for me just because of that. So I totally get that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. It was just really weird. It was just like when I quit in 2020 to the old game, I had a real emotional like breakdown and whatever. I just was in a bad spot, but it's just relief. It's just I guess like you could say you get back what you put into the game, and like you put in all this energy and you focus and you compete and you're like you have best friends in the game and like lifelong friends and all this stuff, and it's just like it's really weird to say like there's life-changing things ahead for everyone included in the HLC, and it's just really weird because I don't know what that means. Like a life-changing event to me is getting married. Like I got married, and that's a life-changing event. People have children and all that stuff, and it's just like it's crazy. It's just like we're playing a card game, and it's going to change our lives.
Seeing it go
for the better,
where it used to be.
Yeah,
like
it's
literally
insane.
14 years ago.
Yeah,
through to now.
God, I'm tearing up now.
It's wild.
Sorry.
It is. This game has come so far. I talked about this in my interview after round 7. Because Sam had asked when I had won Worlds, I'd mentioned that like this is a great community, that great things are to come, and then he specifically quoted me and then said, "I have great things coming to this game." I was like, that is wild that you have gone that far down the YouTube rabbit hole to find me as a 21-year-old.
Sam is one of my favorite commentators
at an interview. But yeah, it was like it really has. It has grown up. It's become a real game, and I think seeing the resolution of this, I mean, they do coverage of like there's a lot larger coverage. Like the more money a game has in it, when you put a number like $250,000 prize pool into a game, we may see even more traction come up from that. Like I think there's only greater things to come. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of it, but that adding money to the game is definitely it's harder. Not Mirio. What's her name?
Mirko.
Yeah, you're close. You're close. Yeah.
7 hand size Robert Tim. You hear. Come on, please. Tim's shaking his head. I'm always gonna sell that, Tim. So.
Oh man. Well, I think that's gonna officially do it for us
sorry
on the
UEFA. Chris got in his Mirko pitch.
Yeah, we're gonna have
sorry
to.
for like the emotional breakdown.
No, don't apologize, Chris. It's fine.
Man.
It's well deserved. It's well earned. More importantly, you definitely fought for it. You earned that shit, man.
Yeah.
Don't say sorry.
Well,
you earned it.
Yeah.
Now, more importantly, Chris. You're gonna have to cut another sick ass promo for now that you've actually made it to Worlds.
Okay,
that's the next thing is you have to make another promo for Worlds.
I thought about that, and I'm like, who was I talking to? I forget. I think I was talking. Was I talking to you, Tim, or I was talking to somebody? And I go, at least I backed up my promo. At least.
Exactly.
So
See,
cool.
you've done that, and now you've got to make another one, and you've got to think about what you're gonna deliver on that one, Chris. So,
I know. See, like I got to do something cooler because I can't do I can't copy what I've done before. I got to do something new. So.
Yeah.
Maybe I just like
just use
Kim.
Shigaraki back there as a prop in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Yeah. I don't know, but I like Keenan said, there's only better things to come. There has to be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's gonna wrap it for us. Obviously, again, I've said this every time Tim's on. If you're not subscribing to Tim's YouTube channel, what are you doing?
Do.
I'm gonna we're gonna put it in the description of this episode. So if you haven't done it yet, you can do it now. We appreciate everybody coming on. Obviously, Chris, Tim, Keenan, thanks for stopping by.
Anytime.
Everybody have a great week.
Do algorithm things.
Yes, Matt's not here. Do the algorithm, like, subscribe, do all that stuff.
Master old man YouTube guy here knows all the things.
Algorithm things. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment. What was your favorite moment from Nats? Do that, please.
Yes. Yes.
Comment. Favorite moments.
And push about it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Please do. We love you all.
Oh, one last thing before we officially go.
Oh, we're trying to leave. It's the 5th time.
We're trying to leave this last time, and then I'm just going to stop recording after I stop talking. Congratulations to Tamron Cardwell for being officially picked as Jasco's MVP. That was announced because I was listening back to our last episode recently, and we were talking about maybe who it'll be, and like literally the next morning it was announced that it was Tam. So,
congrats.
So congrats to Tam. And with that, we're out. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
The Scott Summon Stinks one with Phil Birch. I tucked that at the end of the credits. Yep.
Just hating on Phil Birch, even when he's not there.
No, I wasn't hating on Phil. I was
hating on
Phil Birch was hating on someone else, but it was pre-record. It was during the pre-show, and I cut it and I put it at the end of the episode. So.
Okay, I got you.